Former General Secretary of NUPENG, who fought against the military alongside other civil rights activists for the realization of democracy, FRANK Kokori, is dead. He died on his 80th birthday at a private hospital in Warri. And more condolence messages are still pouring in, extolling the virtues of the veteran Labour leader. President Bola Tinubu has received the news of Mr. Kokori's passing, saying that he is a man that will be remembered for his honest work in the labor industry with deepest sympathies. The president condoled with his family, the civil society, the government, and the people of Delta State over the deeply painful loss. According to him, FRANK Kokori was a thoroughbred Democrat and activist. He fought for democracy at a great personal cost. For Festus Keyamo, FRANK Kokori was in solitary confinement in Bama prisons for his struggle for the restoration of the June 12 mandate nearly 30 years ago. He says he personally represented him in various courts, fighting for his freedom. As a result, he became an adopted son of his family. For Ayo Kwadoko, the eventual exit of Comrade FRANK Kokori, though maybe as ordained by God, yet he probably could have tarried for a while if he got the required government care, support, and welfare when he most needed them. Comrade Kokori, according to him, was a rare ideological specimen in trade unionism and the democratic struggle that Nigeria has passed through in the last 40 years and counting. And the national president of the union, Williams Akporeha, and the general secretary, Afolabi Olawale, the union described FRANK Kokori as a committed and dedicated defender, promoter, and fighter for workers' rights, as well as democratic rights of citizens. The national and NUPENG flags across the country are to fly at half-mast in honor of his passing.
We woke up this morning to this sad news of the death of our icon, the first among the first and the founding members of NUPENG, Comrade FRANK Kokori. You know that he is no more. It came to us as a rude shock because even though we realized that he was frail and old, nobody expected it so soon. When the news hit us this morning, everybody was kind of shocked that, is this the reality? So what we can quickly do was first to release a statement and then ask all our members nationwide.
Former TUC President Peter Sele joins me live on the news at 10 to discuss more on the life and death of FRANK Kokori. Thank you for joining us on the news tonight, Mr. Sele. You've called him a hero, and that his death to you was surprising. What do you consider his most prominent contribution to the Nigerian labor struggle, and how will he be remembered?
Yeah, I think majorly when you talk about FRANK Kokori, what majority of Nigerians remember him for is the struggle for June 12. And again, FRANK Kokori is also one of those early labor leaders who were able to define the movement and push it towards also getting involved in politics. Majorly, we've been made to believe that labor is different, politics is different, which of course is not, because whatever happened in the political space also determines what happened to the average Nigerian worker. If the policy of government in the political space is not good for the economy, workers will also be affected. So FRANK was one of those in those earlier years who saw the balance between unionism and also getting involved in politics. Another aspect is that we look at him only on that aspect, but there are also areas where FRANK really cares about workers' interests. That was his driving force. And the last account, one of the encounters I've had with him is when we decide to go on strike, FRANK is always there to offer us advice and also to let us know that, so far this is how much you can go, time to pull back. I remember we had an experience during fuel strike during President Jonathan. And then when it was going on, so we all had to have a meeting with past leaders of both Pengasin and NUPENG, and we had a meeting in a hotel in Abuja. And Frank came in, and Frank Kokori came in and informed us that, hey, enough. We need to pull back and then go back to the table. So his wealth of experience was always a guide.
Interestingly, he raised that voice of caution earlier this year with the intervention of labor during, I think, the removal of fuel subsidy. But quickly, because of time, do you agree with the former NADECO secretary that perhaps he will still be alive if he got more care and more welfare intervention from government?
Well, that is neither here nor there, because one thing I know about life, when it's time, it's time. If you have to go, you have to go. But that is also something we need to consider, because I learned he was in a quasi hospital in Warri, and I also heard when he complained and he cried out for help, that even the hotel, why am I using hotel? Even the hospital he found himself, the AC wasn't working. And so a lot of challenges, and we also need to look at what happened in his course of his death, so that we can also make other people to live longer and also have benefit of good health care. But again, as painful as it is, I think when we remember Frank Kokori, we will all remember him with a smile, because he has lived 80 fruitful years to the service of the Nigerian workers and also to the service of his fatherland.
No doubt it's a golden age. Former TUC President Peter Sele, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.